Hi there, Scorpio, and welcome to your modern shaman, Maria and RainbowLand, here with the weekly forecast for the week that starts at the 15th and ends at the 22nd of October 2018. This is the weekly heartful forecast, and welcome. So this week will be the last week where we have a winner of the weekly contest, where you can get half an hour free reading with me if you shared if you shared the video on social medias. And first week it was someone, Scorpio actually, from the United States. The second week it was a Scorpio again from Colombia. And this week we have an Aries from Germany, an actress. Congratulations to Felicitas France, the German actress. I'm gonna go on a silent retreat soon, so I don't have time to do free readings like this for a couple of weeks. So this week we're going to start off with 5 to 7 minutes of a shorter report for the ones who just want the short information about this week, the Scorpios, and then we're going to continue to go into the depth of the things after that. So this week, Scorpios, is the last week of you really purging having a change of faith inside of you, a spiritual awakening of something you really need to let go of, a side of you, a part of you. At the same time, a lot is going on for you in your identity field, and we are talking here about the Scorpios being the Scorpios and their defense mechanisms. If someone says something to you don't like to hear, how do you respond? Diplomatically, or of course probably depending on the situation. The thing for the Scorpios can be that you guys either keep it in, or it comes out in a rather straightforward manner. So it's kind of like talking about the defense mechanism of the Scorpios has to change, because there's a change going on since Venus is going retrograde in your sign, conjuncting Mercury at the beginning of the week, where you realize what it is that you need to change. And then during the week you're gonna see that, okay, how can I execute this change? And we also have Jupiter in your sign out of its retrograde phase, so it's treading new territory where you realize that you have to change your defense mechanism, the way you react to others, the way a part of your identity has to change now, and you have to see how. It's not that we all have to change something, right? And this is it for you. And often it is to turn down the intensity so that you don't scare away people, because you're having some new plans, some new ideas you want to execute. But if you already scare away your partners, business partners, family members, by coming full throttle with something, your planet, Pluto, the ruler, is the planet of destruction, and you can destroy what you build up. So it's a very, very important thing to notice if you're over armored, you know. So look how beautiful it is, right? Wow, it's fire and this place, yeah. So anyway, you have to give some space to your spiritual life and meditate. This is the last week of the sun in your 12th house, where you purge, and purging is always easier once you contact the spiritual realms and meditate and get into contact with that mystical side of you that you really have, and find a harmony and balance through the meditation. Card of the week, astrology card of the week. I have another deck. I have many different card decks, but this week I wanted the astrology card deck of the week for the Scorpios. My God, I keep getting this. Virgo, I analyze. It's your 11th house. But it's also, Virgo is ruling the 6th house, and it's all about you going into the detail of things. So this is something to do probably with you actually planning the future, because Virgo is in your 11th house. It's got something to do with your future planning and you being with friends. Be aware of how you are here, and use this time of meditation to create the new visions for you in your future about your personality, your identity. It's very important to have a great personality, a great identity, even though there's so much intensity going on for the Scorpios, because they are always clearing karma. in one way, not always, but often, in one way or the other, you can really destroy what you build up if you don't learn to control this force that you have, this wild black male horse that's just riding down the fields crazily. Card of the week for the Scorpios is try to find stability in the mundane and everyday life that you have. It's almost the same card, or it is actually the same card. Apparently the cards of this week really want to tell you that appreciate the mundane, don't go overboard. This is the mundane life, your day-to-day life where the same things happen every day, but it also gives you a great grounding. We have 10 of Pentacles and abundance, if you can accept that. So you have to change through giving yourself and your system time to analyze, time to reflect. This is kind of actually two Virgo cards at the same time. Time to also critically look upon yourself with critical eyes. What is it that I can change? Is it okay that I let go of these things in my life? How can I have a better personality? This is something that will be going on for at least the next 6 weeks, because it has so much to do with the Venus retrograde that you actually become a better person. So if people around you put boundaries more than you are used to, and they really say no and yes more than you think, it is because everyone in the zodiac is learning about the Scorpio, since we have the Venus retrograde rating here, and the difficult point is in the beginning of the Scorpio. So everyone in the horoscope is teaching to say yes and no to anyone crossing boundaries. And the Taurus Scorpio axis is the boundary crossing axis, where we overstep other people's boundaries. So maybe people are gonna say no to you that you didn't expect, especially if you have some, like for example Libras in your family, or Libra ascendants, or someone with a lot of Libra. They are really learning to say no and put boundaries to other people. But in general, yeah, something about your personality that can change and alter to such a beautiful, because you have so much to give. You have so much love to give. Got so much love to give you. I don't remember the melody actually of that song, but there's always for the Scorpio a darkness that stands right next to the light. And it's always that bipolar thing of choosing the right path. And right now is really a time for you to choose the right path for you, to choose the brighter path for you. If you consciously choose the darker, then be aware of it and see where it takes you. Is it, and ask yourself if it's good or not. Someone I love is up there, a very dear friend of mine. She is, taking care of this garden. Let that be the thing said, and don't follow trends, follow your heart. Now the collective report, where we go deep into the astrology and reality of this week. See you. Love for you guys. Well, so the collective part of this week will be a talk where you look upon beautiful things that I'm filming from the air, places that I love, that are charged with spiritual and divine energy. Don't you feel it? Yeah, I think you do. It's both at my home and very close to my home here in Denmark. Our home, I mean, of course. So let's see. This week, well, I want to start with actually Mercury, of course, because Mercury is the main character of this week. He's conjuncting Venus in the beginning of the week, and he's squaring the node. So, and actually I just want to say about Mercury that he's retrograding from the 17th of November to the 7th of December. So we will have a Mercury retrograde coming soon enough. So we have Mercury squaring the node. So this has something to do with, are you actually going to, in your life, are you actually bringing forth the childlike, more playful, heartful side of yourself? Or are you more like, because Leo is where the north node is, and Are you going to be like the more rebellious, radical, and genius Aquarius? Which side to choose is what it's asking really now. So, but we have to know that the South Node is, of course, are we really going to get anything out of being radical and rebellious? And now that the South Node is here, even though Mars is also here, because Mars indirect in Aquarius is gonna wanna go into these wild, weird worlds where we can express our deep, radical selves, But I don't think it's a great idea when we have the South Node here where we are not supposed to go. So, well, the question is also: are you really who you think you are, or is it just an identification with an ego that you have built a house upon, a rotten fundament? Like, is it really time now to find out who you really are? I mean, we are dealing with our trouble sides, of course, and we have Chiron in Pisces, so it's also about the guilt and the shame of all the things that fell apart in our lives, and the most sensitive things, and the most intense feelings and emotions on a dramatic level. Like, feelings are changing. And this Mercury-Venus conjunction Monday evening here in Denmark, with Mercury in Scorpio, we are here. He's investigating things on a deep level, not only just on the surface or in the mind. It's on the most deep emotional level, and he's kind of like, he wants to investigate so much there, so much more intense than other places. So he's trying to find a better suggestion for a life plan, for what we want, and how we can manifest deeper, more real understandings of, like, we're trying to understand and see the deeper layers of life here, and we're going to discover these deeper unconscious layers of ourselves. So, but the question is, again, with this bipolar sign of Scorpio, which ones take us to the higher realms of consciousness and to our open heart, and thereby to true love, right? Which ones doesn't? Which ones are like taking us down bad paths with bad people for us? Weird and ugly stuff. Because Scorpio is, of course, he's transcendence from darkness into light, and yeah, he's just like these beautiful things that can come out of it, and a force that can push forward. But he's also the ruler of of sexual things like diseases and obsession and dominance, and things that the darker side of our nature. So with Jupiter here, it's just like multiplying things by 5. You might take it a little too far with these taboos in life, because he can be a bloodsucker, this fella. So these signs, with Mars are in Aquarius, in a fixed sign, and Scorpio is also a fixed sign. They know what they want, and they are kind of radical, and they're in a square. So with these two in a square, we want something so crazy and out there, but at the same time, we can also choose the more pure side. And this is the bipolar choice we have to make with all the Scorpio. And October, November is a wild months, and Venus hasn't even reached the 4 degrees where the crazy zone is at. But now we're gonna, because the 4 degrees was also where we had different things going on. There's some long story, don't want to go too far into that, but around these degrees are the crazy stuff. And now we're starting to understand what this Venus retrograde is actually like for us in our lives, more concrete. We are on the way down into the underground, and we are asking ourselves, okay, how much deeper down into the SHIT can we come? Because we feel, now we took a step. But some of the steps we take are also putting boundaries to other people, saying yes, no to other people. And there's also this fear of, do they then respond and come back to us and give us some SHIT? And do we then have a battle? Because Scorpio is such an aggressive sign as well, right? So, yeah, it's also dealing with this fear. Keeping the innocent side of you alive, keeping the heart open is very important. And the question is, Again, are you really who you think you are, or are you just identifying yourself with your ego? You have to find out now who you are. Well, again, Scorpio is pressure. Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio is pressure. Pressure to grow no matter where we are. We face ourselves, so we think that it's other people, that it's about other people, but it's you're facing when you're meeting resistance. Right? It's you're facing. And you have to dare in Scorpio to be who you really are. And Mars in Aquarius at the same time wants enlightenment, but then you have to deal with your shit if you want that. And Venus in Scorpio is asking, like, are you escaping? Are you hiding? Are you cheating? Are you stealing? Are you lying? Do you feel and follow yourself, or do you follow others and their idea about wrong and right? I mean, in relationships, if we don't try to change ourselves now, nothing, this Venus, is going to happen. You have to look upon how you can change. And Mars and Venus in square, which is still repercussions from it now, in this week, like, our relationships are changing. They're not the same as for 10 years ago. But we all have both Mars and Venus somewhere in our chart. And the one is more conscious than the other. And that side we suppress can, in a square situation, sneak in on the other, more conscious part of you. So you really have to be aware of, are you more masculine than feminine or feminine? And once the opposite side of what you are more is going to come about, then you know, okay, I may have to feed this side that's out of balance. That is the last week of Libra. You need to see which side in you are out of balance. Are you always giving? You need to learn to be the receiver and get your yin energy, your feminine side out. And most of us have too much masculine. We are giving. When is the time for you to receive? Venus wants attention now. Give it to her. Be vulnerable. Dare to be sensitive. Dare to feel. Dare to be. Let your feminine side out. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. I'm not talking about gender. The feminine side. And so basically what we're doing now is we're renegotiating our relationships. We're investigating our relationships. We have to change. I mean, we're being detective. We have to change boundaries, and it can feel really weird. So, like, 2018 is all about, changing on a personal level, clearing out old karma. The inner world is getting cleared, of course. So these huge changes inside of us is what this week is about. And last week of the Libra season here, it's all about the balance out in the relationship. So it's time to get what we deserve also. Time to draw some boundaries. Libra, Scorpio. So the moon is going to be in Capricorn over Pluto first. And that's the death of a new era. Starting Monday, Tuesday. And then the moon is going to be in Aquarius, and where we really, like, okay, we detach from all the chaos around us because we can just say, oh, F it, I'm not in it. I'm out here in my mental world. And then we're ending up in Pisces at the very end of the week, we enter a new moon phase in the traditional astrology with Aries, and the moon Monday, Tuesday. And then the moon is going to be in Aquarius, and where we really, like, okay, we detach from all the chaos around us because we can just say, oh, F it, I'm not in it. I'm out here in my mental world. And then we're ending up in Pisces at the very end of the week, we enter a new moon phase in the traditional astrology with Aries, and the moon is in Pisces. We have to rely upon God, right? So this is a week we're clarifying things, changing things, and we're detaching, and then ending up with a more intuitive side, right? So, like, fate, destiny is on the table when we are talking also about Capricorn. So it's with Pluto, their subconscious pushes towards the motives that we have, and we have to notice these signs that comes in our lives from our higher selves through our intuition. And in the Venus retrograde, we are listening to them more because the Venus is the feminine receptive side is more here. So we take the time to listen to the more spiritual side of ourselves also. In Scorpio, also because of the domino effect of everyone else doing so, then the energy is there. We are in that classroom here on Earth. So first off, in Libra, we were establishing the balance with our inner stuff, and the relationship with ourselves. Then, and then in our relationships in regards to other people. And now this week, it's more like specific relationships that are the really important ones we're working with now. Find the right soulmates. Find the right teammates at your work, in our lives in general, of course. And we are following the emotional parts. We're following the intuitive parts, the heart now, and so this is new territory we're walking upon. And if you have a hunch and an intuition about something or others, or if something you feel about people, then follow it. We're breaking through this week, and you're starting to see the opportunities that you didn't see before. And we live in a new ascensional level, the quantum physical world that was introduced to us in the zeros, to many of us light workers in the zeros. I remember even in the late 90s, it started really coming up, like because both of my parents are librarians, so I got it. My father's a critic as well, so I got the books from him, and I just remember, like, anything right now we can get that we believe we can is possible. If you can see it, it can happen. But you have to know and see and feel that it can happen. There's so much information to get from the Akashic Records, the Universal Library of Info. Just tune in, just log on the internet, the spiritual net, and you get information. I was born with Mercury in Pisces. That means that I don't rationalize as much as you might think. Of course I also do, because I have a lot in Virgo, but I primarily get my info from my intuition. And this is what we can do with quantum physics. We can enter this information where we can also things and make them go much faster as well. A quantum level and a quantum degree of going through processes at a much faster level. We can change things just through a decision, right? We're not that limited as we thought we were. You're coming on a deeper level in relationships too, and you can really use this information that I just gave you to move forward faster. Because all of this week is a part of this relationship change. So new alignments in the world and in your world is coming. Definitely, I'm positive about it. And the Venus-Mercury conjunction Monday, you're really gonna see how things, where things are broke and where they have to be fixed, and you'll see how you can, where you have to go towards and where you don't have to go towards. So the old can tempt you to go back, but you have to take a heartful decision and go forwards. And yes, that creates a risk, but who ever gained anything if we weren't following their heart and taking risks? You have to take a risk this week and do something about things. You cannot sleep upon it anymore. Time is now. Stop procrastinating your life. It's your responsibility, no one else's. If you don't do something now, you have lost the train and the chance. Don't sacrifice your boundaries either. If people overstep your boundaries, say something. You don't have to make a speech. Say it shortly. A well-set boundary is a boundary set. This you don't do anymore. You don't even have to say period, because that is just in the air. And people are like, yeah, but this you don't do anymore. Of course, if the person really wants an explanation, okay, I can give it to you, but I have to let you understand that this is my boundary. So in the beginning of the week, we are kind of like divorcing people and having the final conversations with the ones that aren't going to go on the train with us or on the flight into the new realm and world we're doing in relationship-wise. And yeah, so you have to look upon the boundaries, of course, then, and of course the emotions will intensify some this week and also get a little unclear at times, but you just have to trust the process, right? So ask yourself what is it that I deserve in my life? What do I really want? With whom do I belong? Where do I want to be? And what do we want to really do with our lives? So at the beginning of the week, you look upon what are the possibilities for me, and at the end you are like, okay, these were my possibilities, now I do it. This is the one that I'm committing to. These are the people, this is the one I want to marry. This is the one I want to do business with. This is the one I want to have kids with. This is the one I want to be friends with. This is the one that I want to start a family with, build a project with, have a friendship with. And then once you've seen that at the beginning of the week, then you go for it. At the end of the week, you say to that person, yes, you're the one. Let's do this. And you take that chance. There's a Rumi saying, goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. For those who love with their heart and soul, there's no separation. So don't be afraid if you have to say goodbye. It's all good. It's all good. Don't follow trends, follow your heart. Thanks for watching. Namaste.
There is this angel saying, I'm gonna find my way back home. The secret is love, he said. You've got to lift yourself up, try again. One day you will break through. What you long for will find you. Through all the hard times, I always seem to find the light in your eyes. We fall through.
Don't follow trends, follow your heart.